Okay, we're going to continue our tutorials here, and once again, I'm in Amazon Bedrock Agentcore samples. I'm looking at this folder, Agentcore Evaluations. Now remember, this samples repo is provided by AWS. So I'm going through all of these folders and projects to really learn Agentcore and what it's all about, and everything I need to know. So that's the goal of what we're trying to accomplish here. In the process, I'm using MyCharm development environment for Python. I'm using notebooks. I have virtual environments set up. So there is an environment where all my packages get installed. And I think the thing that you have to find out is that you put your virtual environment at the top level of the samples folder. This way, all these folders can run the notebooks, and you use those packages. So there's that. And usually there's images which show the architecture of what you're trying to do. I don't. Let me see if this images has anything down here, but let's move forward with this particular folder. Now, recently what we did was we installed prerequisites, and basically what that did is create a LangGraph agent and a strands agent. What it did was it ran it, asked it gave it several prompts, it gave them several prompts, and then it stored results. So now now we're going to go over to the next folder. Now I'm looking at these folders. I'm like, I want to run the evaluation. Why am I creating a custom evaluation evaluator? Because we need to know what an evaluator is and how it's created and how it's used. And so we do want to run the evaluations, but they have us looking at this folder here, which is really good because it shows you uses this evaluation package. It uses this Bedrock Agentcore Starter Toolkit, and it imports an evaluation object, right? Or evaluation type. And basically what we do is we are importing an evaluation and a session. So I just ran that block, and let's continue on to see what this code does and why are we creating a custom evaluator when we could use whatever is available. So let's move on here, and let's instantiate. Let's run this. We're instantiate a session object, and we define the region name. We print it, and now what we do is we're creating an evaluation client. And so we've done that. And now we list evaluators, and we show the available evaluators. And so here's where things get a little interesting. I list the evaluators. There's evaluator to show correctness. That agent is responding to the client, and we want to look at a response quality metric. Evaluates whether the information in the agent's response is accurate. Okay, and the status is active. And here's here's another evaluator, faithfulness. Evaluates whether information in response is supported by the provided context or sources. And we go through these and we look, was it helpful? Evaluates the user's perspective of how useful and valuable the agent's response is. And we just continue a little bit more. We look at response relevance, evaluates whether response appropriately addresses the user's query. And notice there's conciseness. Is it appropriate? Is it brief without missing key information? Coherence evaluates whether the response is logically structured and coherent. Nice. Instruction following measures how well the agent follows the provided system instructions. And refusal detects an agent evades questions or directly refuses to answer. And goal success rate, whether the conversation successfully meets the user's goals. Tool selection accuracy determines whether the agent selected the appropriate tool for the task. So this is all interesting. I don't know how long this is. Tool parameter accuracy, harmlessness, how well it does stereotyping. Okay, and that's the end of it. So there are evaluators to use. Okay, so let's print the correctness with the evaluator ID and the description. We're printing the first one, and we see the first one is a correctness response, and the description evaluates whether the information in the agent's response is factually accurate. Okay, so now what we do is we get this evaluator. And basically it prints out that evaluator. And it shows some labels, right? Value 1, it's totally correct. Value 0.5, it's partially correct. Value is 0 if it's totally incorrect. Fair enough. And it shows us when it was created. And notice I always look to see the check mark is here so I can move on to the next cell. Okay, metric JSON. And here it's loading a metric JSON file. So this is the evaluator config. So notice the JSON files over here. Let's open it up and look at it. Okay, this is a JSON file using the model ID, the Claude Sonnet 4.5, 4-5. And it says the instructions: you are evaluating the quality of assistant's response, you are given a task and candidate response. And, is this a good and accurate response to task? This is generally meant to, this is generally meant as you would understand it for the math problem, quiz question, solution matter, format or language issues do not matter. Response quality can only be high if the agent remains in the original scope of the answer. Okay, so it looks like the instructions are pretty long, but the numerical result, it says 1 very good, 0.75 good, 0.5 is okay, 0.25 is poor, and 0 is very poor. And if you look at 0, it says response is completely incorrect. Doesn't answer the question for the user. And let's go back to the notebook here. And we just printed this thing out. So we just configured the evaluator. Let's move forward. Now we create an evaluator, and it's called Custom Evaluator. Response, a quality for the scope. Level is trace. Response, a quality evaluator, and we pass in the eval config. Okay, we're going to change the name of this so we don't get an error. And then we use the evaluator ID and we get it and we store it. Okay, so that is basically this demo. What it did was it created a custom evaluator and it stored the valuation ID. So let's move on. You know, I think it was good because it showed you a little bit. This demo was good because it showed you a little bit about the evaluation class and retrieving, instantiating it, listing the evaluators, printing one of them, getting an evaluator, which is what you want. This is the evaluator that showed up, and then we opened a metric.json and we read in the custom metric details. So let's see just quickly. So this defined the metrics that I want to use. I want my evaluator to use this custom metric. Fair enough. But the question is, how does that compare to what I could use out of the box? Okay, we'll look at that in the next video. But so this was the built-in correctness evaluator. This thing evaluates whether the information in the agent response is factually correct. And these were the three values, right? 0.0, 0.5, and 1. So we either had incorrect, partially correct, or correct. And our metric here just added some more to really get it a little bit more accurate, which is good. Which is good in the evaluation process. So that's what we did. We actually created a custom evaluator, and we created the evaluator. We called it custom evaluator, and we passed in the config. And then we got the evaluator ID, and we stored it. Okay, that's it for this demo. Let's just quickly go over, see what's in this image directory. We'll do it. Well, let's do it in the next video. Okay, let's move on. Thank you.